Hey there guys, Aldnoa here, and welcome, finally, to some actual premium content. Today I'm going to be going over how things played out over at the Kingslayer Cards event over in Kissimmee. So I only went in for premium, so how I ended up doing is, it's just strictly for premium because I didn't plan ahead due to things that were going on. I didn't think I was actually going to be going to this event for a while until recently, and I didn't feel like driving for just the V premium and the premium event because I had stuff going on Saturday. So I just decided, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna go for the premium event, see how well I do. And man, I learned a lot from this. So the deck log is going to be in the description below, but you're going to be seeing some gameplay of the deck that I actually went with for the event. And I went in with Luard. Luard is probably the one deck that I always feel confident in, usually. Today was exceptional, definitely no exception to that. But I'm going to first go over what my rounds were. And then I'm gonna tell you how well I placed with the deck, because now looking back at all the stuff that all those matchups, I feel like there were a lot of plays I could have made differently and maybe pulled out some victories out of it. I don't know, we'll see. So my first round opponent was against Overlord. Now apparently the guy had been playing for quite a while, since pretty much G, so he was aware of some stuff in Luard, but he was not aware of all the stuff in Luard that can go on. So the first match, he kind of snowballed into a large majority of his pieces, but I still pulled it out. Second game, I had to G assist for my grade 3, and as a result of that, I just barely didn't have enough to guard his last attack, so I lost that match. And then the third round, he, for some odd reason, despite me being on grade 3, still rode up the strike-in, even though he was already on grade 2. And so I pushed him with the Morfessa play, and I don't think he was aware of the fact that I could still stride on him. I think that was the big thing. And I smacked him pretty much because he didn't get the V series Overlord the Cross, and he had to ride the Legion after my Morfessa turn, and it feels bad for him. So yeah, we ended up taking that one 2-1. Then I go up against Regalia. Now this Regalia list was actually quite interesting. I think he actually ended up, both of my opponents actually, the people who you'll see in a minute, my actual win losses, both of the people who I did lose to, they both made top 8. So just giving you a heads up, spoiler alert. So round 2 opponent was against Regalia. He was running a more mixed build between the Yggdrasil and the Fenrir, but I think it worked out pretty well for him because he was still able to get a good majority of those plays that he wanted to. But more importantly than that, because even he admits, the first game, he went Almighty Minerva, had the Norns on the back row to restand the things in the front row, and what made it worse for me was that he hit the Keter Overtrigger, because I had the defensive hand capable of guarding everything if it wasn't for the fact of the Overtrigger. So, lost the first match. Kata made a comeback in game 2, where he just could not sustain a large enough hand to survive a Morfessa turn. And then game 3, I just I 2-passed it, forgot he had an extra drive off the skill, and I got crit sacked and died. So that loss was more so on my end in particular than the other loss that I ended up getting, which round 3 was against Victor. I did not see Hanali until it was way too late. In hindsight, I could have played a lot more cautiously, but I realize now, like, I could have just... So basically the first turn, I felt like the first attack, the first match, I could have pushed for game, but he had way too much of a defensive hand to a point it didn't really matter. And he was just able to just bash my face in after a certain point because he had the grade 2 that gained certain effects after off how many times it restood. So that was kind of, it feels bad. And game 2 was even worse because the one Hanali I run ended up in damage early on. So even if I wanted to search it off of the stride skill, or God forbid I have to go for Dragon Disc just to set up my board, I couldn't place the Hanali down, and so I got smacked. So, you know, it is what it is. We ended up taking a break after this. After that, so I figured out, but you know what, I'm just gonna go and have fun and just see what I can do. So after the break, we have round 4, and it's against Pale Moon. Pale Moon, it was Night Myrtle, but it was the Alice combo. And because I'm so used to Mirror Card Neko's build, it's kind of like, for me personally, it was a lot easier for me to like play around. Basically, like, I just danced around his whole combo. So the first match, I did not see Chelsea at all. So I kind of just sat there, I'm like, huh, you know, maybe I could get away with putting the Hanali down. So game 2, he ends up, you know, riding Carol after riding Alice before. Checks top 5 for the grade 3 or just for the Nightmare Doll. And he gets the frickin' Chelsea. And later on he did tell me it was a one-of. But even with like some of the plays he could make, because the first match he really didn't have the hand nor the resources to be able to sustain the combo that he could have done. So he ended up getting smacked the first match, and then the second match I legit sat there and like kind of withered away at his pieces because I went for the Morfessa turn. He really didn't have much after that, and I guess he wasn't aware of that. He has apparently he didn't run the stride that, you know, you could de-stride off it to activate the Carol skills. So I guess he was just not aware that that was even a thing. So yeah, we ended up taking that 2-0. And then my last match was against Grand Blue, and it was actually against Outer Orange, which I think she's going to be covering this event more so better than I will. Because there was a lot going into this match that kind of just threw both of us off. I won't go into specifics. I'm kind of just letting her talk about it because this was more of a her problem than a me problem. But I did not deserve to win this round. Let me explain why. Because if she had remembered certain skills, I think there was this one grade 1 that she could have activated to basically get herself out of the situation of not being able to stride at points and being able to, you know, still actually like barely guard to push for the game afterward. But it was an interesting match. Like, I did not feel like I deserved that win, considering. But I you know, at the end of the day, it was a really fun match. It was just really unfortunate because the guys on the table over were being a bit too rowdy, and that kind of threw her off, and I could tell. And honestly, after what had happened and what transpired before, it was kind of a feels bad. And again, I would talk about more in detail what led to it, but I feel like that this is something that she should bring up, mostly because she's probably going to be better at explaining this than I am. So overall, this tournament was initially supposed to go into 6 rounds, but because we had one undefeated and the rest of them were X1, they cut it they cut the 6th round to just have a relatively like decent top. So they cut off the 6th round so that way they have an actual like true top 8, which was fine. But honestly, I'm gonna be honest with the way how I was feeling. I don't think that even if there was a 6th round, I could have done that well. I don't think it would have been enough to have me top. But you know, at the end of the day, I'm at least happy I went out to this event. I do think that, you know, that much to their credit, I'm gonna give Kingslayer cards a lot of credit for it. The fact that they were very, like, made it, like, clear immediately out the gate. Hey, wear your freaking mask inside, because the last event that I went to of Neko, that was not the case. And yeah, a lot of people ended up getting sick as a result. So I was actually very grateful that they actually took the time out of their, like, you know, thing and just made it clear, like, hey, this is, you know, this is a thing. Wear a mask, people. Thank you. And then, and another thing that I do like about them is the fact that they actually made it very clear on what the rule sets were, and everything going into it. And I do think that did help out a lot of the confusion that was going on in the background. So definitely thank you for, you know, hosting this event. I heard that V Premium and Premium went a lot better. V Premium and Standard went a lot better. And, you know, I'm very glad that those events went well, but what the hell happened with Premium? Like, Premium, like, this is like my 3rd time going to this same, like, event. It was, because it was weird, because initially this was supposed to be held by Golden Phoenix, but I think one of their owners had to leave, or left the company to start their own, which was Kingslayer cards. If I'm not mistaken, someone can correct me in the comment section. I'm going to assume at this point. And, you know, considering this was their first time hosting this event, I think that they did a relatively great job. You had a good cast of judges and everything, making sure that everything was running smoothly. Even though towards the end of the event was kind of really just an absolute nightmare. Again, I'm going to leave that to Outer Orange to discuss everything. So if you haven't already, go and follow her, because I was hanging out with her pretty much the entire day. Random parts of the day, not like I was right next to her the entire freaking time. But I'm glad I did get the chance to meet her. Definitely gave me a lot of insight as to just what it is that I can do with this channel, and just with the content I can do in general. And just, I had a lot of fun at the event, but there were certain moments I wish did not happen. So, you know, we ended up coming 13th out of like 30-something players. I think this is the best I've done at this event, period. I want to say, don't quote me on that, you know, I'm going to look back at the Chaos video just to see how well I did back then and just kind of go from there. But I think for Luard, I do enjoy the deck, but I am looking forward to when Raging Form comes out, because I'm going to be experimenting with the shit out of that. A lot of people like Commander Jaime and all these other people have been experimenting with Raging Form. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing how I can just, like, adapt the Raging Form play, because whoo, there's so much spice in there. There's so much spice. And then we're also getting Raging Fall. So I think Luard is probably going to be taking a backseat for a little while. In fact, I don't think I'm going to be playing Premium for quite a while. Mostly because I want to focus on the Raging Form build and just see what I can do with it. But I did enjoy it. Let me know in the comment section if you were actually there, and what were kind of your thoughts about, you know, if you were actually playing in the other formats and how that was to you guys. To me, it was, you know, because I was only playing Premium, I only got to experience the Premium tournament, but I'm sure the other events went pretty smoothly. But yeah, I'm going to get up out of here. Thank you guys for checking out the video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.